Drive to Survive Season 4, Episode 5, Staying Alive. We get back to Danny Ricciardo once again, ladies and gentlemen. That is correct, because McLaren ain't having a good time all of a sudden. All of a sudden, Danny Ricciardo's season is not improving. Ferrari are ahead in the Constructors' Championship. So, in typical Netflix fashion, in this season, we start off with McLaren downfall on the verge of going up. We also see Ferrari, who start really high. They're leading the Constructors between the two teams. McLaren are not quite happy with what's happening here. Everyone's questioning whether Danny Ricciardo should be at McLaren. And then we head to Monza. There were 3 sprint weekends in total in the Formula 1 2021 season: Silverstone, Interlagos, and Monza. I told you, Netflix just had to press record because the story, the narrative that was built, imagine, McLaren haven't been doing too good. McLaren and Ferrari's history goes way back for some time. But imagine this, right? Ferrari in 3rd position in the Constructors, McLaren in 4th, chasing that 3rd place. And remember what Zach Brown said, tens of millions is the difference between 3rd and 4th. What kind of a place do you need to pick up some momentum then at Italy's home perch in Monza? For whatever reason, Carlos Sainz, Charles Leclerc, they could not handle that Ferrari car. Something was not quite right. Monza is a very different circuit to most of the other circuits in the season. Very fast, very high-paced circuit. You even see the rear wings are very different to what you get during the season. And I guess the car just couldn't handle it. And this was prime, actually, for the McLarens. Throughout the entire weekend, if you go to the qualifying, to the sprint quali, whatever it may be, the McLarens looked bloody good. Danny Ricciardo as well was leading the crop, which is what was even more impressive. Danny Ricciardo's had some very interesting storylines here in Drive to Survive. When you go back to his Red Bull days, even his Renault days, and now McLaren, and it's again another big story. This is the year really where he's trying to prove himself, because the season has gone on. We're about halfway, or just over halfway in the season. And Danny Ricciardo is being questioned whether or not he is good enough. He mentions in Formula 1 that you're here today and tomorrow you're forgotten. You start to learn that Danny Ricciardo prefers to be the hunted. He doesn't like being the hunter. He doesn't feel as confident. Whereas when he's at the front of the grid, he feels a bit more powerful. He mentions the fact that you've got something that somebody else wants. And that's where he thrives. So if the car isn't necessarily good enough, you don't really get a good, confident Danny Ricciardo. That's what I seem to learn in this episode. And then in the midst of all of this, the big crash between Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton, who were obviously fighting for the title race, left a massive gap in this race. Ferrari and McLaren, it was up to them who was going to win this race, with the Red Bull and the Mercedes out. But what is amazing in this race as well is that at some point McLarens are leading 1 and 2 in the race, and all of a sudden Lando Norris is picking up this pace. I totally forgot that he was actually faster than Danny in Monza and was told to hold position, which I thought was very interesting, because you could just tell that this could get a bit aggressive. Danny Ricciardo, you can imagine the desperation. If Lando Norris is right on his tail, what kind of mistake could happen? Both cars may not even finish the race. The most important thing was to make sure both cars left Monza at least 1 and 2. The great thing is McLaren do it 1-2. Danny Ricciardo, ladies and gentlemen, wins a Grand Prix in 2021. When you consider the year that he's had, when you're considering the time he's having, unbelievable how this season has sort of just turned and spun on its head. And of course, with the 1-2, McLaren then overtake Ferrari in the Constructors' Championship. I mean, it's just all going on. There's so much storyline, so much drama, so many stories in the 2021 season. And yes, McLaren winning on Ferrari turf, 1-2 as well, and overtaking them in the Constructors. I mean, you could not write this up. It was perfect for Netflix to record. And I'll tell you what, it was a really good moment. I love to relive it again as a McLaren fan, of course. And as I've mentioned many times before, the only 1-2 in the 2021 season. Unbelievable. It's incredible what McLaren have achieved. What a team. And of course, Zach Brown then goes and gets his tattoo of the of the Monza circuit there. And then you get little montages of people talking about Danny Ricciardo, and Christian Horner pops back up and he says, looks like we saw the old Danny Ricciardo there. That's the old Daniel, of course, that he would know from his Red Bull days. And even Max Verstappen at the end was saying, you know, well done, you've done a good race. From start to finish, you were brilliant. And so, just in case you forgot that he's if you ever thought that he left, as he ends, he says, I never left.